dear friends, it's Carly and welcome to another video. I'm so excited to be talking to you today about Mars in Pisces. So for those of you who keep up with the transits, I was going to talk about Mars in Pisces on my Astrology and Coffee live stream this past Friday, and we ended up going really in depth on Venus in Pisces and did a lot of chat talk as well, like interacting with the chat and answering questions and things. And so I ran out of time. So here we are in Mars in Pisces with its own video. So I'm very excited to talk about this upcoming transit, mostly because this is my personal placement. I have my Mars natally in the sign of Pisces in the 12th house. It's actually exactly conjunct my North Node, which I've always found fascinating because I find the North Node fascinating. And it was always very interesting when I very first started learning about Mars and the North Node, because Pisces as an energy did not resonate with me. I had not really tapped into that side of myself at all. And studying astrology and these placements has connected me with my Pisces energy more than I ever have been before. So all of that to kind of say, you know, any of the 12 zodiac signs, if you have trouble at first finding it within yourself, know that that can reveal itself to you over time, kind of like in divine timing when you're ready. And that's such a perfect intro for Mars in Pisces, is all about divine timing and literally intertwining your actions, Mars, yourself, Mars, with the all and the infinite and the divine. That's Pisces. So like you to put Mars in Pisces and you combine, you give yourself this internal personalized experience of the all, of your own divinity, like actually feeling inside of your vessel divinity. Not human energy, divine energy. And that is a wonderful experience that I have come to really enjoy since learning about my own Mars and Pisces energy that I carry all the time. So whether you have it in your natal chart or you're here because it is transiting here pretty soon, I'm recording this on April 5th, 2022, and Mars enters Pisces on April 15th and will stay there until May 24th. So during that transit, it will conjunct Neptune, which has been in Pisces for like a decade. But on May 18th, it will conjunct Neptune at around 24, 25 degrees of Pisces. And Jupiter is also in Pisces right now and will share the sign, will be co-present with Mars for the first part of the transit. But before Mars can catch up with Jupiter, Jupiter will move on into Aries, and that's where Mars will catch up. So Mars and Jupiter will have a conjunction, but it'll be in Aries on May 29th, around 3 degrees of Aries. So that's kind of Mars's upcoming journey. It just spent the last like 6 weeks in this conjunction with Venus, which is very weird. It's a very divinely timed series of events, mostly around Venus's retrograde, where Venus slowed way down and stationed still and then turned backwards, and then slows down and stations still and then turns forwards again. And in the speeding up of the turning forwards again was right when Mars caught up. And so Mars moved slower, but Venus was slower because she was just getting going, and they stayed together in this conjunction for right through the end of Capricorn and most of the sign of Aquarius, and now they're taking their turns entering into this sign of Pisces. For more on Venus going through Pisces, check out the Astrology and Coffee from April 1st, where we go in depth, because Venus is exalted in Pisces. So that energy is happening already when Mars makes its entrance on April 15th. So for the sake of this video, I'm going to break it down in its pieces, each of the holes inside of the bigger hole. We're going to talk about Pisces archetype, Mars archetype, and then smush them together and talk about Mars and Pisces, and then just some takeaways. So we'll start by taking a deeper look into Pisces energy. Pisces is a mutable water sign. So it's actually the 12th zodiac sign. It's the astrological end of the year of that cycle of our trip around the sun. This time, Pisces is the end. So when we finish in Pisces, we move into Aries, and that is where the new comes in, the new life, the new spark of who do you want to be out in the world. And in Aries energy, we go forth and boldly declare who we are. And to do that, to have something to boldly declare, Pisces has to come right before. And that's where we turn inward. It requires a lot of solitude to do your Pisces energy well, typically to come up out of the lower frequencies of Pisces and reach into the higher, more ethereal, divine, spiritual dimensions of Pisces, where there's more unconditional love and less feeling out of control. So in Pisces, it's infinite. It's mutable water is unbound water. It's infinite water. So imagine being at an infinite depth in an ocean to where there is no surface. There's only more water. Like, that's Pisces. And that's why we don't just have Pisces. We have Pisces, and then we also have 11 other zodiac signs. We have 11 other rooms in our house that give us other things like oxygen and food and other nourishment. Pisces, though, gives us a depth of spiritual nourishment that cannot be found in any of the other zodiac archetypes. Some keywords for Pisces: surrender, release, letting go, opening new space or creating a new void, the end of a cycle, transmutation towards unconditional love. This would be the highest frequency of Pisces. Merging with source love, finding your spiritual service, powerlessness, and not enoughness. So these are lots of different frequencies, all within this Pisces archetype. And so you'll see, like, we'll kind of pick it apart and kind of move around the edges and see if we can shake loose even one more nugget of clarity around how to personally find your way into this energy and allow it to have the greatest benefit for you. So this is a quote from Molly McCord that I heard in a podcast of hers when she was talking about Pisces. And this very much comes off of the spoke of spiritual service. And she says, your true power is in how you serve yourself. Your true power is in how you serve yourself. So anytime I see concentrated Pisces energy in a chart, or like what we have going on right now, or heavy Virgo energy in a chart, both of them are very much concerned with providing their service that they came forward to provide, these two pieces of ourselves. Remember, we all have all 12 of the archetypes within us somewhere to some degree. And with these two service-oriented, giving, heartfelt givers is what they are, that it is very easy for that energy to become burnt out if it isn't balanced with other energy that is more concerned with taking care of self. And that's actually where, right now we have all of this going on in Pisces. We also have the Sun and Mercury and Chiron in Aries. So that's encouraging us to look at ourselves, not the collective, not the good of the all, not the, what's the value of me as defined by other people. Aries is much more like, where does my personal satisfaction come from? Like, what feels important to me right now? And I'm going to do that. And I'm not going to let anybody talk me out of it because I know it's important if it feels important to me. And there's a self-trust in that is not present in Pisces. There's an intimate knowingness and experience of the all that's present in Pisces. But in Aries, we have a knowing and an intimate experience of self with some boundaries that keeps other people out and lets us fully honor the spark of life that brought us forward. So it truly does take all 12 of the archetypes. But in Pisces, there is such a richness of spirit and heart that creates this powerful flow of energy to be given away. That's really where the satisfaction comes from for Pisces, is in giving. And so that's where the martyr archetype can kind of come in. If you let your frequency, if you let your battery get drained and your frequency goes down, that giving spirit can become a martyr or a victim because you're over giving. And there's a concept that I like to share with anybody who is contemplating Pisces or Virgo, and that is the concept of a selfish giver. And this is basically the highest frequency that we can reach for with our Virgo and our Pisces, is this selfish giver where we say, I am intentionally being selfish enough to put myself at the top of my list. I take care of all of my needs first. That's 100% first and foremost. My top priority is to take care of my needs. And when I do that, I have such a heart of service that I can't help myself, that everything that comes after I've met my needs, so maybe that takes me 20% of my day, the other 80% is giving all of that heart-centered love and personal relationship with the divine. That's what's being given in the other 80% of my day. And some days when the world is just a little heavier than it was the day before, some days maybe it takes 80% of your day to meet your own needs and you only have 20% left to give. But I can guarantee you that if you do it that way, the 20% that you give will be worth so much more than if you had kept on with like only giving yourself 20% and giving away 80%. When you give away the 80%, when you really don't have it, it comes across as reaching and grasping. And that's again where the Pisces martyr victim side can come in. It just means that your own batteries are a little bit undercharged. And rather than giving right now, turn inward and kind of step out of that Pisces role or that Virgo role. Of Pisces, Virgo are sister signs if you're not familiar. So that's where they do activate each other. But come out of that role of service, or adopt this selfish giver mindset where I'm giving to myself on purpose, because when I service my vehicle well, it runs for all of eternity. Like it provides service and value for a really long time when I take good care of it. So, when we neglect ourselves, when we let our gas tank go empty over and over, when we let our engine run out of oil and then our engine explodes, and now it's like a 2-month process to like get a new engine and put it in there and rebuild it, and like on and on and on, and all of the other belts that you burn up and other damage that you did by letting the oil run out of your car. Like our cars require maintenance, our bodies require maintenance, like our vessel requires a relationship where we're paying attention and honoring our own personal needs. So we have nothing to give if we let ourselves blow up our engine and now we're stranded by the side of the road. We can't go anywhere and we can't help anybody. So selfish giver. I hope that helps. Pisces is where we experience our own God self in our physical form. So this is as close as we can get to the divine from our physical form without re-emerging into non-physical, which is basically what Pisces is experiencing. So Pisces is often associated with psychic abilities, aka the ability to sense the energy, the non-physical energy that's around us all the time. Sometimes this is called plasma or light energy. It's so high frequency that you can't see it, basically, is what the concept is. And it's high frequency because it's source. Like this is my personal understanding, crafted through whatever spiritual practice I've undertaken since being alive. Basically, like source energy, aka God, if that's what you want to call it, like it's here, it's everywhere. It's me, it's you, it's the air that I'm breathing, it's the coffee cup, it's the water, it's the consciousness that's everywhere, that's wrapped around all of us all the time. And we all have some capacity to sense that energy. That's what happens when somebody rubs you the wrong way. You're sensing their energy and you don't like it. And this is Pisces. This is the value, especially if you have Mars in Pisces natally. This is the work to figure out your own sense of the energy around you. Pisces is also associated with sleep work, aka the astral realm. So when you fall asleep, when your conscious individual ego self falls asleep, your subconscious soul spirit self is still awake. It's always awake. Your soul is always awake. And basically how the language goes of the astral realm is that your soul leaves your body, however you want to take that, and goes to these other dimensions in the astral realm. And within these dimensions, there are multiple frequencies that you can land on. And some of them, feel a little bit better than others. Some of them, there are, you can interpret guides with you. Some of them are so high that it feels like you're downloading information, that there's not anybody telling you anything. There's no words, there's no anything like that, but you can feel the new information and the new consciousness coming into your body in your dream. And then you wake up and that feeling of expanded consciousness is still there. So if you've ever had any kind of experience like that from your dream state, that is my understanding of the astral realm and the healing work that's possible in our sleep. I know a lot of spiritual practitioners that I really respect encourage keeping a dream journal and paying close attention to what you remember from your dreams, and paying strict attention to make sure you don't move so that you can write this down. And that all sounds really confining to me personally. My organic understanding that I've come to with my dreams is if I need to remember something, I'll remember it when I need to. Also, I would say this is very much a Mars and Pisces attitude. If I need to remember it in my conscious state, I will, exactly when the knowledge is needed. I don't need to try hard at anything, let alone trying to capture ethereal energy from my dream space. The energy that I access from my dream space is there at that time because that's where I am and that's what I'm ready for. And if I come out of the dream space back into my conscious space and I don't have a conscious memory of what was there, I'm not meant to have it. That's not for my highest good right now. And my highest good is serving the highest good of the all. And I only want what is serving the highest good of the all. So I don't demand to remember my dreams. I don't try to cling to what was the dream and what was the symbolism and what am I supposed to do with this information. I don't think we're supposed to do anything with this information unless it comes to you. Have you ever not remembered a dream until way later in the day? And then you're driving and you look and you see something that's oh my God, and then all of a sudden you remember your whole dream. And then you think of something else and then that prompts something else. And then that whole experience happened right before you got to this place. And then you told this person, if you need to remember your dream, you will. Sometimes we remember, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we need to know what it meant, sometimes we don't. Sometimes the healing work is already over. It's already done. You wake up feeling good, just feel good. Don't worry about what the dream was or what it meant. So let the sleep work be whatever it's meant to be. An intention that I like to hold as a Mars and Pisces in general, but especially during these 6 weeks, is my intention is I am open to receiving whatever is in my highest good at this time. That's what I want, and that's what I trust I am receiving. And it's that trust piece that lets you off the hook for everything. And that's where, Pisces energy in shadow can venture into this side where basically what's that going to matter in 500 years? So fuck it, I don't care. And you can really take that to an extreme place where you know, what's it going to matter in 500 years if I chain smoke cigarettes all day and die of lung cancer at the age of 40? Like, what's that going to matter in 500 years? It doesn't. So I'm just going to, you know, do this unhealthy thing. Like, you're kind of using it to justify a little bit staying where you are, which if you're justifying, I mean, you clearly want to be there. There clearly is value for you to be there. So like, don't even worry about it. That's just where you're supposed to be. Don't worry about justifying it. Just accept it. Accept that that's where you're supposed to be. At the highest frequencies of Pisces is unconditional love. And this is really worth taking a step into to contemplate, what does it actually mean to hold and practice unconditional love? And this is something that, again, as a Mars in Pisces and Mars conjunct my North Node, I feel like this is one of my themes that I find myself circling around a lot. Like, practicing unconditional love as a human is extremely difficult, like almost impossible, I would say, like, but not quite. I think it is technically possible. I think it is extremely rare that a human touches this frequency of unconditional love. I think it's really easy to talk about. And even I talk about it a lot because I find it very fascinating. But what does that actually mean? Because think about it, like the example that's coming to my mind is the prison system. And if we adopted a mindset of unconditional love, we would be seeing the souls inside these vessels who in whatever moment did whatever action, and now the current prison system condemns the entire being for one moment in time. And you may be thinking that, like, yeah, but if they murder someone, or like, yeah, but if they, you know, R-word someone, like, these are not okay. Like, they can't do that. And feel the constriction in that response. That's why humans can't do unconditional love, is because when you start thinking about this, I love them no matter what, your mind automatically brings you examples of, but not them. I'll love you no matter what, except for if you murder someone. I'll love you no matter what, except for this and this and this. These are my deal breakers. These I can't love, but I'll love you no matter what, but not this. Like, what? That's conditional love. That's the very definition of conditional love, is like, I'll love you no matter what, except for this and this and this. These are my conditions. If you break these conditions, then I will not love you. And some people have one or two conditions that will prevent them from loving. You know, like, they are 99% love, and maybe they got like this little hang up, and like, that's pretty good, right? Like, what I would imagine as a human, that's pretty close to the best we're aiming for. Other people, and I think I was in this boat for a long time, and it created a lot of suffering. And basically, like, we have expectations of other people. We require that they behave inside the parameters that we personally deem acceptable. And as long as they behave inside this box, then we will love them. And I feel like my box was like right here. I had way more conditions for why I wouldn't love you. Like, you had to just be perfect, basically. And that was what was manifesting, was like, I hate the world. I hate people. People suck. People are stupid. Like, on and on and on, telling all kinds of stories about people and what's wrong with people. And all of that was really conditional love. And this is where how we feel about other people will always be a reflection of how we feel about ourselves. You know, like, when we put a lot of expectations and rules on other people, that is a very telling moment about how we treat ourselves on the inside. So I know that back then, that makes total sense for me personally, with like, back then when I really didn't like people, and very curmudgeon-y when it came to people in general, condemning like a whole species, basically. Like, I was also extremely depressed and very much in a pattern of self-loathing and not loving myself and feeling like a failure at my own life, and like nobody else loved me and I was misunderstood and all these things were wrong with my life and myself. And rather than face that, it was easier to tell stories about how stupid other people are. And so we can look at our conditional love of others as a reflection of the conditional love that we hold for ourselves. So when we start arguing for why this one's not worthy of love and this one's not worthy of love and this one made a gross mistake and this one is just evil and this one is beyond redemption and this one is vile. I mean, people throw out all kinds of words, sending energetic lampoons into these souls saying, they're not worthy of love. They're not. Yeah, unconditional love, but not them. That is like the human condition, is that on the inside, we can experience unconditional love in its purest form. We truly can. And then you open your eyes and you look around, and it's so easy to get sucked into judgment of how this isn't as good as my fantasy on the inside. And accepting that, I think, is a really big piece of getting there with unconditional love, is accepting that, like, when you open your eyes and you look at the physical, it will never be as good as what you're able to conjure in your imagination on the inside. The physical world will never be as good as your inner world, period. Accept it. Just don't let it disappoint you. And then there's a space, there's enough of a door opening for gratitude to come in towards what is manifesting in the physical world. And this is where, again, I go back to the prison system of, like, which is interesting because Pisces in the 12th house is associated with the prison system and confinement in general. But if we truly held a view of unconditional love, when you look at someone who did something bad, quote unquote, right? That's subjective. If I ever did hear a word that was subjective. Instead of locking them up or killing them, we would truly come at it from a place of rehabilitation, and if not rehabilitation, at least study and prevention. Because what I can tell you from my own twisted obsession / fascination with true crime, whatnot, is that most of the serial killers and the truly sadistic people that we have on the planet, they were made out of rotten upbringing experiences. And that is really the problem. The person, the murderer, and the awful things that they did, condemning them is the easy way out. The difficult thing is to show them compassion and ask, why would you do this? You know, I personally believe that at our heart, when we are born, we are all, and maybe even our entire lives, at our heart, we are all the same divine love consciousness. And when we are hurt or traumatized in any way, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, it doesn't matter. When we're traumatized, that light gets covered over, and we instinctively, through our own survival instinct and our lizard brain, our, survival brain, we protect ourselves. We cover over our precious light and we keep it safe. And then we get hurt again and we cover it over some more. And we cover it over some more, we cover it over some more. And there are people who can cover it over so much, it's so protected that even they lose track of it. And I feel like I've been there. I've been on the verge of not wanting to be here anymore enough times, and looked into that abyss of what even is life and what even is death? Like, what does it even matter? Like that extreme Pisces version of what does it even matter? And when you look at that, when you really truly consider what it takes for someone to hurt another being given that everything that we ever have in terms of relationship with others is just a relationship with ourselves, they are hurting themselves on the inside as much, if not more, than anything that anybody ever does to anybody else. You inflict it on yourself first and foremost, and sometimes it spills onto other people. And looking at the individual with compassion lets us open our minds to say, you know, I think really, instead of like fighting for the death penalty or stronger prison sentences or anything like that, like, yes, that needs a solution when a person has gotten to that point. But instead of focusing on that end, why are we not focusing on the new souls who are coming in pure and being traumatized through poverty and existing racism and all kinds of sexual assault that happens at all ages of, like, just, there are so many ways that darkness can seep in, that we can feel the need to protect ourselves. And in Pisces, the highest frequencies, unconditional love, what that really means is that you're no longer protecting yourself. You're letting your heart be completely open. You're taking every layer of self-protection off, and you're putting your pure heart out into the world. You're loving with no guarantee of being loved in return, just because that is the essence of your soul. That heart, divine, unconditional love that truly can see the soul in every single being that's alive, no matter what they've done. Their actions are not who they are. That is so true for any of us. Our actions are not who we are. We are something deeper than just our actions. And so this unconditional love and practicing that divine compassion, it really does begin with offering yourself compassion and unconditional love. Because when you start to practice, you know, again, it doesn't work to say, yeah, I love everybody no matter what, and then beat yourself up for the things that you beat yourself up for, whether I said something stupid or I shouldn't have blah, blah, blah. Like, I have this regret from when I was younger. Anything that you can hang over your own head and use to torment yourself and tell yourself that you're not worthy of love, because like in that moment you're being beat up on. It just happens to be coming from yourself. And most of us do that probably more than we realize. So it really is about catching yourself within that moment of, like, when you call yourself stupid on the, you don't have to say it out loud, just on the inside, you can say like, gosh, that was so stupid. That's judgment, and that is the opposite of acceptance. And without acceptance, we can't have compassion. And without compassion, we can't have unconditional love. So in that moment, instead of that was so stupid or why has this happened to me, acceptance looks like I'm always at the right place at the right time. Every single thing that happens to me is for the highest good of the all. My unfolding is in line with the divine unfolding of the highest good of the all. So if I did a stupid thing, that's exactly what was supposed to happen. That's what needed to happen. If I snapped at somebody and I didn't mean to, and afterwards I felt really bad, that's what they needed to hear. Like, it's like that. It's like that acceptance of exactly what manifests is correct. And it's through that we can make peace with this divine path and with the timing of what's unfolding in our lives. Like, it's easy to feel like, you know, this is taking too long, or I didn't get enough time with this thing that I love. And I mean, it's easy to feel like all kinds of things are out of whack and not unfolding properly within this path that you're on. And every ounce of that energy that you spend thinking the timing is wrong is you interfering with the universe acting on your behalf. Everything always happens at the perfect time. Everything. So if something's not here yet, you're not ready. If something is already over and you wish it wasn't, you needed to be without it right now. You're making your way currently you're in the perfect place at the perfect time, and you're making your way to the perfect place at the perfect time. Like, I had a thought the other day that came kind of along these lines, as far as looking back in time and seeing something that is over and being like, feeling nostalgic, feeling like a pull back towards that, and kind of feeling that little bit of an ache or missing of that moment in time, wanting to go back there. And what came, which I think is very Pisces and very much this like compassion and acceptance, and, you know, like recognizing that actually this pull to the past does not feel good. It is hurting me just a little bit, and I know that's not me on my divine path, and that's me interfering with the universe. And this like understanding came that that's over, because as much as you think that that was the height of what your experience is all about, like you think that that had something that like was the best it's ever going to be, it's not. That was just the appetizer, and you had to get rid of that one so that you could move on to the main course. And I was like, mind blown, literally mind blown, because I just knew that that was absolutely a fact, that like that was just a warm up. As good as that was, the universe can top it. Think about it. So next I'm going to go through Mars in some detail. Mars is the ruler of both Aries and Scorpio. Aries is the masculine face of Mars. Aries is a fire sign. And Scorpio is the feminine face of Mars. Scorpio is a water sign. So some keywords for Mars: it represents the divine masculine, action, assertion. It's the god of war. It's our inner warrior. What's worth fighting for, our primal spark of life, our physical body and our strength, our life vitality inside our physical vessel, and this idea of every single thing that's alive is either hunter or prey. And within our Mars energy, we respond to that question whether we know it or not, and we choose, are you hunter or are you prey? And what that means is like, are you fighting your fight or are you chickening out? And that is something that like, it's not a college degree. Like once you have it forevermore. Like that is kind of something like life cycle to life cycle. How are you responding to your Mars energy? It changes over time. And this is something where, like for me personally, finding my Mars energy, finding my inner fight, I mean, I knew I had a temper in there somewhere because every once in a while it explodes out of nowhere, but I don't really have a sense of fight inside of me. Again, Mars and Pisces. So it takes time sometimes for the pattern of energy to reveal itself. And when it does, you're like, oh, I've had that my whole life. Great. Okay, now I can see it. So Mars represents our sense of courage, courage, bravery, and advocacy. So it's like feeling afraid and acting anyway. So we are all going to have things in life that scare us and that bring up fear inside of us. Fear is a very natural survival-based emotion. But how we respond to the fear, that is kind of another way of saying, how are you responding to your Mars? Because if you're chickening out, you're not facing the fear, you're letting the fear control you and keep you stuck, then that is a weak response to Mars, and you have subconsciously, passively chosen to be prey. So there's this example I heard where, like, let's say Mars is conjunct your midheaven. That's very much an entrepreneurial type placement, like where basically your fight is to open your own business, to be on your own, stand on your own 2 feet, have your own vision, create your own vision, have a goal, do the goal, do it. And there, is this person who has this and they choose to stay in a job because it's comfortable and they like their boss and the work is good and whatever. And at a certain point, that boss retires and the new boss that comes in is a tyrant and is basically verbally abusive to the person. And all of this that says that is life's way. That's the universe's way of reflecting to you that you've chosen to be prey. Like when you attract a predator who is now attacking you or hurting you or hurting your life force in any way, that is a reflection that says you've chosen to be prey. So if that is a situation that you're manifesting in your life, you know, there's a switch that has to happen towards courage, towards I feel fear and I'm acting anyway because it's important enough. Think like the primal nature of Mars, like the motherly instinct to guard her young, her offspring. Like a mother will take a bullet for her child, like will sacrifice her own life so that the child survives. That essence of course you're scared, but you have no choice, you're gonna do it anyway. At that point, that's like superseding, transcending even courage, and that's just that primal instinct that says, I'm going to do it anyway because this is what matters to me. Your Mars can be thought of as your solo adventure. Like, where is your solo journey that's going to give you this sense of self-awareness around who you are? It's like the sign in the house, or like the terrain through which you will make your solo journey. And really the root of that to keep in mind is like basically this idea of becoming your own best friend, because at the end of the day, the only person who never leaves you is you. The only person that you can always count on to be there for you is you. So that's where Mars and Aries like really understands that. And so sacrificing their sense of self or what they want for anybody else, it's like the cost benefit doesn't really make sense. Like, so compromise doesn't really come naturally to this energy because they know that like people come and go. You know, even marriage partners these days come and go. Best friends come and go. Business partners come and go. But me, I'm here at the end of every day. And so if I'm going to protect my relationship with someone, or I'm going to honor somebody's request first, it's going to be mine. So Mars is that sense of my wants, desires, wishes, journeys, dreams, like all of that matters so much because I am the one that is here for myself day after day after day to make sure that whatever soul mission I brought forward is actually going to be lived out in the physical. Another way to think about your Mars is the sign in the house, and the aspects are kind of painting a picture around how your unique life force energy wants to be channeled. And basically that Mars represents a point where you need to channel your life force energy. Otherwise, if you keep it stifled, if you're chickening out and you're not channeling that life force energy out into the world, boldly declaring, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing, then literally your life vitality begins to ebb out of your being. That like literally you are killing yourself day by day by day by denying the flow of your own life force energy. And that like that barrier of like, why would you not? Like, how this sounds like so simple, like of course channel the energy, live forever, great, but like you don't, because you're afraid. You're afraid of what people will think. You're afraid of, I'll fail, I won't know how to do it, I'll hit an obstacle I won't know how to solve. There's all these fears that come in that keep us standing here, not doing the thing, not channeling our life force energy. And every day that you do that, you are taking a little bit more of your life force away from yourself. You're dying a little bit more. We're either growing or we're dying. And Mars is a really great spot to check in your chart as far as like, are you facing the fears that you said you would face so that you could move forward on your soul's mission? So often we watch what others are doing and then we do what they do. Monkey see, monkey do. That's like real. That's like proven in psychology. Like gosh dang it, what even is it? It's like the 100 monkeys, where like you only have to teach a couple of the monkeys how to do something before all the monkeys know how to do it, because they're just copying each other. It's like part of society, part of like being around other beings. And we are wired to be connected to each other. So it makes sense that you would like naturally pick up and learn from watching other people. But the problem with that is when you are exclusively watching other people and not honoring what impulses are organically rising from inside of you. What is naturally driving you, regardless of what other people are doing. And that's where, like, you know, there's a lot out there as far as how to do a lot of things, how to, you know, be an influencer, how to start a YouTube channel, how to open a business, how to do all of these things. And so many of those courses like that are step-by-step instructions about how to do whatever it is, rather than a facilitation of, for your energy specifically, here's how you should do that. And really, the only one who's going to be able to know the answer to that question is you, through your own internal process of knowing yourself and allowing your own self-awareness to guide, like, who are you and what do you want to do when you show up in the world? You don't have to act like all the other monkeys. You need to act like you want to act. And denying that natural impulse is what we're talking about with not channeling your natural life force energy. Mars is linked to depression. And again, this is because the most extreme form of denying your Mars is suicide, where you get to a point where you have so denied your own mission, you're so disconnected from your own life force energy that you don't understand why you're alive. And so you terminate your life force. And that obviously, like, is a very far extreme, but again, there are people who die at the age of 25 and live to be 80 years old. Like, when we deny ourselves of what is truly in our nature, we cut ourselves off from our own vitality, and we're basically zombies walking around in the world instead of awake, enlightened beings who are living from a place that says, I know who I am, I know why I was born, I know why I'm here, and I'm showing up with intention and purpose to do the mission that my soul sent me forward to do. The last piece I want to add on Mars, I want to say, like, your natural impulses do rise naturally. Like, organically, they do rise if you stop inhibiting yourself, or if you stop talking yourself out of what is coming up. Like, a lot of times we say, I don't know. Like, I don't know what my natural impulse is. I don't know what I want. There are a few reasons people say, I don't know. So I found this fascinating because I have personally run into this wall where when you go inward for an answer, it's just like, I don't know. And that doesn't feel good. It feels uncertain, and then you risk getting off in the uncomfortable feelings and wanting to push those uncomfortable feelings away, so then you jump away from whatever it was that I don't know. And so Dr. K, this was in his coaching workshop, which I have a playlist on my channel that has the 4 parts of that free coaching workshop he offered. If you want to check that out, I highly recommend. It was amazing. And so the 3 reasons you would say, I don't know, are, I don't know which one. Like, maybe you have 2 options that you want them both and you don't know which one I want. So maybe that's it. Maybe you want a lot of things and you need to maybe just brainstorm loosely. It doesn't matter what order they're in. We're not trying to say this is the most important one that I want. Like, what are all the things that I want? So maybe that's an exercise there that can help, because you don't have to want just one thing. It's possible to want a lot of different things. And really, when you get on the divine path, which is what Mars in Pisces is really good at, is like going with the flow. When you start going with the divine flow, you see that woven into what's happening is everything that you want. It's not linear. It's not like, I'm going to manifest my business, and then I'm going to manifest my partner, and then I'm going to manifest my writing career, and then I'm going to manifest my speaking career, and then I'm going to manifest, like, it's like all of it happening at the same time. Like, simultaneously, all of these manifestations are coming bit by bit by bit by bit, weaving it all together all at the same time. So totally possible to want a whole bunch of things. And again, it's just about, like, don't talk yourself out of that. Like, when you talk yourself out of it, you're inhibiting your own desire, your own want, your own life force. So let yourself want what you want. That's very much a good exercise with Mars. The second reason you'd say, I don't know how to sound the way I want to sound. This is a big one. This is like self-judgment. This is, I don't know how to articulate this in a way that's going to make me look the way I want to look, which is smart and caring and intelligent and special and understandable and all of these things that maybe you're trying to hit those targets and you don't know how to express yourself. So even that is a good sign, because that one points towards you do know what you want on the inside, you can feel it, but expressing it, you have inhibitions around how it's going to sound, and that's kind of a different issue. And the last reason you might say, I don't know what you mean. So maybe there is a more specific question than the one that you're being asked or contemplating. And so this one is really where, like, kind of giving yourself license to say, I don't know what you mean. Can you tell me more about what you want to know? And even if you're talking to yourself, like, you know, let's back up a step to the question. Like, what is it really that I want to know? Like, can I zoom out of this question and see if I can get at it from a different angle that maybe my inner self, my deeper self, will be able to feel some energy move and like have a response to whatever it is that I'm trying to figure out inside of myself. Okay, so last but not least, we will smush the two together and talk about Mars in Pisces. So the transit, like I said, is April 15th through May 24th. My favorite line that I've ever said to try to describe what Mars in Pisces is like to someone else is that, so it takes our spark of life, Mars, and which is our primal fire, our primal desire for life, and dumps an ocean on it. So that is what it feels like sometimes. And it makes it a little bit different. I would say probably all water Mars placements are going to have some element of this, where when your Mars, your action is inside a water sign, your action becomes interconnected with lots of other things. And that depends on which water sign it's in. But in Pisces, it's a very soft, gentle, trusting, allowing place for Mars to be, because Mars in Pisces has this implicit understanding of the good of the universe. And so there is like an inherent trust of the universe, of the all, this bigger power that you can't see it. You don't really know that it's there, but you can feel and you're pretty sure. I feel like Mars in Pisces gives us a stronger personal sense of the existence of that divine realm. And obviously, like the soft, gentle, trusting, this is relative to other places for Mars to be. So the shadow, though, is passivity. So Mars in Pisces is very much a go with the flow, like go with universal flow. Let divine timing put you in the right place at the right time. And Mars is action and rushing forth and boldly declaring and all of these things that sound so action oriented. And Pisces is not action oriented. It's quite the opposite. It's very receptive and kind of lets life come to them, or come to that energy. It's more attracting things from the universe than Aries and Mars like going out into the world to get whatever it is that you want by asserting yourself. So when you have Mars in Pisces, there is a passivity that it does make you gentle. It makes you kind of afraid / just really resistant to conflict in general. And I'm very much putting my own experience like right smack dab in the middle of that statement. But yeah, I would love to hear from other Pisces Mars if you resonate with that as far as like a resistance to conflict. But that's not to say that, like, you know, I'm not saying that the ocean like puts out the spark. It's in there. It's very much in there. It's just that like the spark is burning and there's an ocean on top of it, and that is contained. It's contained by this layer of love and interconnectedness and compassion and all of that. It's contained. And then something happens, that the spark grows bigger. It has like a volcanic eruption from like, there's so much energy moving through your life force that there are moments where it is like Poseidon rising out of the sea with his trident, ready to roar, ready to kick some ass. So that can happen. Those bursts can happen, but basically it's like Mars in Pisces, like careful poking the bear, because it's gonna be gentle, 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 explode. It's not, there's no like in between. There's either passive or there's meltdown mode. So that is my personal experience. Again, I would love to hear from other Pisces Mars. So we talked about merging ourself with the divine. Like our physical body is very much what Mars represents. So like merging our physical body with the divine. It's, again, as close as we can get to the divine from being in our physical form. And that this is opening up that courage factor of like being able to trust beyond what you can see because you can feel it. So it's like a more visceral physical experience of faith that is possible when Mars is in Pisces, either for everyone through the transit or if you were born with this energy. It also merges your actions and creates this acting on behalf of the all or the collective. I mentioned like my Mars, my fight was kind of hard to find at first. For me personally, it's like, I don't really resonate with that. I don't really have that in me. And then when you start talking about the all, when you start talking about the collective and the just our entire planet, our entire species, and the movement of our species from where we are now to the next level of our evolution of consciousness, whatever that looks like, whatever I feel like it looks like, we are more capable of unconditional love. We are less reactive. We are more aware and compassionate, and that's our next level of evolution. I mentioned that it's a very passive energy. So it's not that you can't do conflict, but your way of going about it will again be contained within a layer of compassion and love. And what that looks like in practice is like, okay, I got mad because so-and-so didn't do what I asked them to do. And instead of jumping down their throat and telling them they're a worthless piece of shit because they didn't do what I told them to do, ask them why, and I'm very much coming from a place of like, I'm the boss and I have an employee and like, it's my job to tell them what to do, and the employee didn't do their job. Like, not everyone has to listen to what we say, but like in that situation where they're supposed to listen. That's their job, is to listen and do the things that I asked them to do, and they didn't. And now I'm frustrated because I have to do it. I have to pick up the slack, whatever. And instead of just dropping the hammer on them and, giving them a lecture about irresponsibility and jumping to all of these judgments about they're a bad person because they didn't do what I asked them to do, asking them why I had told you to do this. It was on your list of things to do. It didn't get done from what I can tell. And I need to know why. I need to know what broke down in this process, because in me having to pick up the slack, it put me behind on other things, and that hurts the department. And there is a way to communicate and ask for their participation, and it requires compassion. It requires opening to the concept that there's a reason that, at least in their mind, justifies not doing what you ask them to do. And sometimes you agree that that reason is valid. And sometimes it's like, we were so busy. Like, if, maybe pull the sales numbers and see, because like, holy crap, it was really busy in here yesterday and I couldn't get out from under like helping customers at the counter. So I didn't have time to do what you asked me to do because it was so busy. If I had gotten a moment, I will. Okay, yeah, let me look at that. Great, I confirmed. Okay, it looks great. Looks like you're really busy yesterday. So next time when there is something that you can't finish because there's any reason at all, if you can't finish it, communicate back to me that I didn't get this done. Do you want me to stay an extra 30 minutes and finish it? Or is it okay if you do that tomorrow? Communicate with me, talk to me. Don't let it be a surprise when I walk in the next day that you didn't get done something that you needed to, because I'm assuming that when I delegate it to you, you've got it handled. So it's like that. It's like letting them have room to be right also. They're not automatically wrong. They're not automatically a bad person because they did a particular action. Going back to our prison system conversation, so often, like even in a work situation like that, you would just yell and be like, why you didn't do this and you were supposed to do this and you're bad. Like, do it next time. Don't make me come back here and tell you twice. Like, just threatening and yelling and not open to even hearing the reasoning or the justification. So conflict, it's not that you can't do it. It's not that, like that, but it kind of goes back to like monkey see, monkey do. As a Mars in Pisces, my version of handling conflict doesn't really look like a lot of other people's, especially other bosses that I've had, that I've seen, that I've worked with. Their way of communicating with their subordinates and like exerting their leadership over their team is very different from my way. And through that passiveness that this placement allows, it basically, takes your life spark and dunks it under an ocean. It slows you down big time. Through that passivity, it allows you to attract the divine solution, the divine path. Because you're slowed down, you're not always jumping straight into action. There's this pause that lets the natural, organic, divinely timed, perfect place, perfect time steps on the path to unfold themselves. And so by dancing with the universe, by waiting for inspired timing, when you get an urge that brings with it every ounce of energy you need to do what you're going to do, it's like the difference between looking around your house and seeing it's so messy and you're like, God, I should clean my house. I don't want to. Oh, I should clean my house. I'm so disgusting for living this way. That's very different than like waking up one morning and like walking out into your house and being like, I'm not living like this anymore. And like, just start picking up the stuff and like, okay, put this stuff away and go get the next armful. And like, the energy's doing it, right? So that is perfect place, perfect time, when you have the idea and simultaneously the energy's there and now you're doing it. There's no should I or shouldn't I. If you're inside that moment of should I or shouldn't I, the answer's no. Okay? There's this thing called hell yes energy. And if it's not a hell yes, then it's automatically a hell no. If you walk out in the morning in that cleaning house example and you just start cleaning, perfect place, perfect time. Everything else in your life can wait. Clean your house. Do what the energy is there to do. And if you come out and you're like, oh, I should clean, but I don't want to, that's a hell no. Don't do it. You're not supposed to clean today. You're supposed to do something different. Who knows what you could get up to in the not cleaning your house? Like, how often do I not clean my house and then I make a video, or I record a podcast episode, or I journal and get a piece of healing for my soul? Like, there are so many things that we could do in this physical experience that sometimes our human self has all of these reasons about what we should be doing and why we should be doing it, versus when you have a natural impulse rise through you that has the energy to carry you all the way through the finish line, like, just go with it. Just float downstream. Let yourself be carried downstream with good ideas at the perfect time, instead of paddling upstream, trying to figure it out with your action and always having to be putting a plan together and acting on the plan. And as a Virgo South Node, like, I really resonate with this, because that means like my Mars is exactly conjunct my North Node, so it's also exactly opposite my South Node in Virgo. And it has been one of my lifelong back and forth teeter-totterings between a strict need for details and plans, and I need to know what's going to happen so I can plan for it, so I can make contingencies, so I can like make a backup plan for my contingency plan. Like, that's one side of me, and that's been really dominant the first 30 years. And then these last few years, my Pisces side has very much come online, and the ability to go with the flow and wait for the right time. Let yourself be still. If you're not moving, you're not supposed to move. If your body's in motion, it's meant to be in motion. If your body's not in motion, it's not meant to be in motion. Mars and Pisces. Like, if your body's meant to be in motion, it will just do what it's supposed to do. Like, you don't have to think your way there. And in fact, you can really mess up. That's like the interfering with the universe. Like, when we cooperate with the universe, when we dance along with the universe, we let our canoe get floated downstream, we have nothing but good luck. There's nothing but one beautiful moment to the next beautiful moment, and even a moment of contrast or resistance or negative emotions is met with compassion and is met with, oh my gosh, that reminds me of this, and that makes so much sense for this. For one of those stories, check out podcast episode 83 called Transcendence. That was a moment of intense suffering that led to intense healing and profound transcendence and letting go. So there is a right place, right time for anything that humans can experience. And there is no bad manifestation or good manifestation. It all comes down to timing. And timing is a matter of which impulses are you following and which impulses are you not following. And so Mars in Pisces is about learning how to feel between your impulses. What is pressure and stress energy? Like, what is like, I should do this because it's disgusting that, like, I haven't blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm such a lazy slob. Like, you know, that's a whole different energy from, I'm so inspired, wild horses couldn't keep me from doing XYZ, whatever it is that I need to do. And that's, you know, like, let the impulse rise in the exact right moment that it's meant to. And this, like, can really be boiled down to Mars in Pisces is acting in faith. Acting in faith, like literally believing in right place, right time. That if you have an urge to, you know, drive 30 minutes and go get a Starbucks drink, drive 30 minutes and go get a Starbucks drink and watch how, you know, maybe you see a double rainbow on your way there, or maybe the lady in line ahead of you, you know, whatever, and you pay for a drink. Like, there are so many different reasons why we get the impulses that we get when we get them. Like, you know, you get an urge to get a drink of water, and when you get up, you see out the window like a whole thing of deer running through the bottom of the field or whatever. And like, was the impulse about getting a drink of water? Yeah, somewhat, but it was also giving you this other thing that was really cool to manifest. So there's so much that can come through, that the universe is lining up all the time, and the only thing that's ever out of sync or not is us. And Mars in Pisces, April 15th through May 24th, is such a great time to practice this, paying attention to, am I putting pressure on myself to act because I think I should? Or is this an organic action that is rising out of me, out of pure love and enjoyment and satisfaction? And like, I can't not do this thing, then go do the thing and watch how it is not just the thing that you're doing. It's kind of like the banana bread analogy of, like, you know, you put in bananas and you put in flour and you put in eggs and you put in whatever else goes into banana bread. I don't know. I don't think I've ever made it. But when it comes out, you don't pull out eggs and then flour and then banana and then this. Like, you pull out a whole loaf that has all of it together, and it's all gone through an alchemical process that now all of the different pieces that you put in there, it's created something completely different. So manifesting and like getting from the universe, being blessed from the universe, it's coming through all the time, but we're manifesting the loaf of banana bread, and so many people are out there trying to find the eggs and the flour and this and that. They're looking for one piece at a time, and you're missing the bigger picture. So those impulses of like, get up and go get a drink of water, like you're thirsty, go get some water. That impulse is taking you towards, like, yes, you're going to quench your thirst, and you're going to see the deer, and you're going to stretch your legs, and you're going to, like, there's all of these benefits that you're trying to manifest, that when we're open and allowing of ourself to like just be navigated by whatever impulse is coming at the time that it's coming from, it opens up a whole new world where the universe can shower blessings on us all day, every day. And obviously, like, if you have a different natal Mars placement, like, then yes, you are meant to like be different, like your operating mode of how you take action in the world, it's going to be dominantly your natal Mars placement. So if you have Aries Mars, or you have, Capricorn Mars, or whatever it is, like, yes, that's your dominant mode, and that's not going to change just because Mars is in Pisces for these 6 weeks. But at this time, all of us have an added sense of this ability. And we all have Pisces energy all the time. And really, like, that Pisces energy is that stream. It's like our relationship to the stream. And are you floating on it, or are you paddling up it? And we all are doing that all day, every day, either floating or paddling. And Mars in Pisces season is about, just forget that you even have oars. Like, don't even try to paddle. Don't even like put the oars in the water. It's not even, just look around you. Just watch the beautiful things that you're even floating past. Like, there's so much to our experiences that we miss when we're trying to get somewhere specific. And Mars in Pisces is anything but that. It's about being open and letting your actions be open-ended. Like, you don't know what you're going to do. You're going to wake up and see what you feel like doing. So you don't have to be a convert. You don't have to burn down your whole life and whatever, but like, maybe this time, these 6 weeks, is a fun time to practice seeing if you can even sense the different feelings between some impulses compared to others. Mars in Pisces is also known as a spiritual warrior. Again, I couldn't really find my fighting spirit until I started opening up into my spirituality and feeling for myself the interconnectedness of all things. And in that universal compassion for all things, there absolutely was an ignition of wanting to fight for the well-being of all things. And yeah, so it's about tapping into whatever your unique Mars energy is in your chart. Even a Pisces Mars can be in a different house with a different set of aspects that can make yours manifest very differently from mine. So again, I would love to hear what your experience of it is. And the last thing I'll say on Mars and Pisces is, so Mars represents our body, our physical vitality, and Pisces is this unbound water, the all, the infinite, the fluidity of emotion and non-physical energy, and the astral realm and non-physical. It's so not physical. And Mars is the epitome of what's physical. It's our body, it's our vessel. And so when you have Mars in Pisces, my experience is like my hand-eye coordination, my foot-eye coordination, my judgment for distances. Like when I'm trying to turn left and there's an oncoming car, I'll just wait till it goes. I don't ever turn in front of oncoming traffic because I cannot judge and feel confident about how far away that is and how fast they're moving. It's like my ability to comprehend physical reality is just very fluid and not super great. My balance is horrible. If I close my eyes, I fall over immediately. All of these things that, like, physically speaking, like, it just made me not athletic when I was small. But even now, like, my relationship to my body feels dreamlike sometimes. Like, when I was younger, I would look in the mirror and see myself, and I don't identify with this. And I don't know if that's a Pisces Mars thing, but it kind of makes sense in terms of the relationship between your body and you is just very foggy. And so to that end, as far as this transit goes, I would just pay special attention to your body. And, if you're just a little bit more clumsy or running into things or just not as aware of your surroundings as normal, that's something that I genuinely try my best to be like aware of my surroundings. But I will also say that Mars in Pisces is kind of a guardian angel energy. Like, I cannot tell you how many close calls I've had around like backing into a pole in the parking garage, or like ripping my mirror off of my car in the parking garage. It's like anything that requires you to be spatially aware, I just have never been very good at. And yet I'll come like this close to like ripping the mirror off my car. It's like my body, at the end of the day, my body does know what to do to keep my well-being intact, but like I have so many close calls. So yeah, you just like kind of trust that, okay, so I don't have full control over my body, but that's because something larger is kind of sharing control of my body. Like my guardian angels, they'll move me at times, like, you know, and I think we all have this, like that instinct that happens in a split second when you're driving and you see somebody in front of you slam on your brakes and you slam on your brakes. It wasn't like a conscious, like they hit their brake, they're slowing down, I'm behind them going fast, I'm about to hit them. So to not hit them, I need to step on my brakes and I need to slow down. So I will apply my foot to the brake. Like that would be the logical thinking through the decision of stepping on your brakes. That's not ever how it happens. Your body just does it. And so Mars in Pisces is like that, but all the time. So like your body is just doing it, like involuntary things that are weird and like kind of unacceptable before you learn that this is just, these are your guardian angels, like moving your body for you sometimes, which is very, very fun to tap into. And for that, I'll give you the example of like my paintings. This is one, show you that one over there. So my paintings are pour paintings. So literally all you do is like put the paint in the cup, you mix some stuff with it to make it runny, and then you can layer colors into a pour cup, a bigger cup, and now you have a whole set of colors, and then you pour that onto canvas and then you tilt it and slide it all around. You can also take like a blow dryer and blow it around. I do that sometimes. But like that is so perfect for what I'm talking about, where like all the way from mixing the colors, like feeling your hand just do it, and then like layering the colors in the cup and like how much, and you know, it depends on how high you pour it, how like, or how low to the cup you pour it. So many different things that like my hands just had a life of their own. And then not to mention like when you actually start pouring it on the canvas and like how your arm goes, and you know, again, how slow you go, how fast you go, and then how you tilt it and which way you want to tilt it. All of that is such an intuitive process where like literally your whole arms and hands and everything are operating independently from your consciousness. Your body is operating independently from your consciousness. And like what comes out at the end of those paintings, you're just like shocked by the beauty of what you just created, because there was no plan. It was like just revealing itself to you along with like the whole rest of the world. Like you didn't know what you were even trying to create. Your hands were just making it. So that is my experience with Mars in Pisces. My biggest takeaway for Mars in Pisces is that it brings a sense of spiritual fortitude, of facing our fears in the physical realm, because we have such a personalized knowledge of the non-physical realm, the spirit realm, that's backing us up, that's cooperating with us, that's serving as our guardian angel to keep us from ripping the mirror off our car. Like, there are so many different things in this universe that are helping us. And with Mars in Pisces, I feel like we cooperate with those energies that much better, and therefore can manifest better and better outcomes of feeling blessed by the universe, just because we find ourselves in the right place at the right time. Thank you so much for joining me for this Mars in Pisces video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I would love to hear from you, your feedback down below in the comments. If you haven't already, please subscribe and like this video to help push my content out into the YouTube algorithm so more people can see it. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Until next time, take good care, and so will I.